Have you ever just looked around at everything we have? All this amazing tech, nonstop entertainment, things delivered to our door in hours, and still felt kind of flat, like you're always running on a treadmill, chasing something you can't quite name? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down why our modern world feels like this giant motivation trap, and how our own brains are actually hardwired for this cycle of always wanting more.
And this quote right here from Richard Murphy really gets to the heart of it. Advertising makes you unhappy. That's how it works. It's a pretty stark way to put it, but think about it. The whole point is to create an itch, a sense that your life is missing something, that you're not quite cool enough, or happy enough, or successful enough. But you could be if you just bought this one thing.
And this is what that feeling looks like, right? The artist Brian McDonald nailed it when he talked about our culture of rampant materialism. He uses all of these D words: distraction, devices, debt, dopamine. It's just this constant buzz of anxiety in the background of our lives, pulling us in a million different directions at once.
So you have to ask, why does this work so well? I mean, it's easy to blame our phones or just say ads are manipulative. But the real reason this stuff has such a grip on us? Well, to understand that, we've got to look under the hood, at the ancient machinery that's running inside our own brains.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're about to take a quick trip into your brain's reward system. This mesolimbic pathway, is a super old part of our wiring. It evolved to do one thing really, really well: motivate us to go out and get the things we needed to survive. Food, water, community. It's the engine that's been driving our behavior for thousands of years.
Now here is a really crucial point. We throw the word dopamine around all the time, calling it the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. It's much more accurate to call it the motivation molecule. Its main job isn't the pleasure of having something, it's the intense desire of wanting something. It's the chemical that screams, "Go! Get that thing! It's important!" It's all about the chase.
And the core circuit for this is actually pretty simple. You've got three main players on the team. First up is the VTA. Think of it like the starting block. It's what kicks everything off. Then it sends a signal to the nucleus accumbens. That's the reward hub that gets flooded with all that dopamine, that motivation fuel. And finally, you've got the prefrontal cortex, which is like mission control. It looks at what happened and decides, was that worth it? Should we do it again?
So here's how it plays out in like a split second. A trigger happens, your phone buzzes. Instantly, your VTA fires up and shoots dopamine over to the nucleus accumbens. That creates this powerful urge, this craving to pick up the phone. You check it, you get a tiny bit of new information, and your prefrontal cortex logs it. Hey, that action solved the urge. And boom, the loop gets stronger for next time. It's an incredibly powerful and efficient system.
So, you've got this ancient survival system that's built for a world where rewards were scarce and you had to work for them. What happens when you take that ancient brain and drop it into our modern world of non-stop engineered triggers? Well, that go signal, it gets hijacked.
And the hijackers? They're literally everywhere. Look at this list. Every single one of these things, the infinite scroll on social media, the ad that knows exactly what you've been looking at, the perfectly engineered salty sweet crunch of a chip, they are all designed specifically to poke that reward pathway and keep you coming back for just one more little hit of anticipation.
Brian McDonald's words just hit so hard here. It's not an occasional thing anymore. It's a constant bombardment. Our brains are living in a state of high alert, always being stimulated, always being told to want the next thing and the next and the next.
Right, so you can't redline an engine forever without it starting to break down. It just doesn't work that way. And it turns out your brain's reward engine is exactly the same. All this constant overstimulation, it has real physical consequences. This is just wild. Scientists did a study on fruit flies, of all things, and they found that after the male flies mated a bunch of times, which is a totally natural reward for them, their dopamine receptors literally became less sensitive. They got worn out. And the result? Their motivation just plummeted. They were way more likely to just give up on the next try. And this idea of desensitization is everything. A great analogy is listening to music too loud for too long. Eventually, your hearing gets damaged. The music is still playing at the same volume, but you just can't hear it as well. That's what's happening in your brain. It's being flooded with so much dopamine that the receptors basically start to shut down to protect themselves. The signal is still being sent, but your brain is losing its ability to hear it.
And when this process becomes chronic, when it happens day after day, it can lead to a state that psychologists and doctors call anhedonia. It's basically when your reward system starts to malfunction, and things that used to light you up, hobbies, seeing friends, even just a great meal, they all start to feel kind of
gray. The joy gets drained out.
And maybe some of these symptoms of dopamine burnout sound a little familiar. Just feeling unmotivated all the time, being constantly tired, not being able to focus on anything, feeling anxious or moody. It's your brain's reward engine basically running on fumes, struggling to keep going. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty heavy. But here's the good news. Just understanding how the machine works is the first huge step toward taking back control. So let's talk about what we can actually do. How do we live in a world that's practically designed to burn us out?
So you've probably heard people talking about doing a dopamine detox. The name is a little misleading. You can't actually get rid of dopamine, and you wouldn't want to. It's vital. But the idea behind it is solid. The real goal isn't to eliminate dopamine. It's to intentionally reduce all that crazy overstimulation. It's about giving your brain a break, letting those receptors reset and get back to their normal sensitivity.
And here is a super simple, really practical strategy you can try, suggested by Richard Murphy. He calls it the weight test. It's easy. The next time you get that urge to buy something from an ad or a notification, don't do it. Just write it down, and then wait a couple of days. That simple pause is incredibly powerful. It creates a space between the trigger and the action, and it lets you ask yourself, do I actually want this, or was I just being expertly manipulated? And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Once you realize that our attention and our motivation are being targeted all day, every day, it forces you to be more deliberate. It stops being about what you want to buy, and it starts being about what you choose to value. In a world that is literally engineered to make you want more, maybe the most radical thing you can do is decide what's actually worth your attention.